Chapter 6. The Whisper. The organic tunnel pulsed around La Serena, its walls a translucent, gelatinous membrane veined with glowing green filaments that throbbed in sync with the chant echoing in Elias Marrow's chest. The submersible, trapped in the alien structure's breathable liquid, drifted deeper into a labyrinth of tunnels that spiraled inward, their curves defying geometry, bending light and space in ways that made Elias's head throb. The air was humid, heavy with a metallic tang like blood and ozone, the liquid not crushing but guiding, a will that wasn't physical but alive. Elias sat strapped in, his notebook open, its pages crammed with sketches of the chamber they'd left, its spiraling walls, its disc-shaped offspring, its living light. His denim shirt clung to his sweat-soaked skin, his gray-streaked beard itched, his eyes burned with a feverish awe that drowned the sub's creaks and Rojas's ragged breathing. Rojas, hunched in the pilot's seat, gripped the useless controls, his navy surplus jacket stained, his scarred face pale, his pale blue eyes reflecting the tunnel's green glow like twin moons. The sub's systems were dead, gauges frozen, sonar a chaos of spirals, floodlights dark, but the tunnel's light was enough, casting eerie patterns across the sub's interior, a maze of wires and bolted seats that smelled of oil and fear. Elias unstrapped himself, his movements sluggish in the tight space, and grabbed the tape recorder, its reels still, but he tested the microphone, the hiss a ritual to anchor him against the tunnel's impossible curves, the chance pull, the memory of the disc's eye-like gaze. The 16mm camera was bolted to the sub's frame, its film rolling, capturing the tunnel's walls, their veins, their alien intent. "We need to get out," Elias said, his voice rough but steady, his eyes tracing the tunnel's spirals, their patterns shifting, alive, a language he didn't know but felt. "Not back, but deeper. The signal's stronger here, it's guiding us." He pointed to the tunnel's core, where the green light pulsed brighter, a heartbeat that matched the chant, the sonar's lost blips, the visions of collapsing stars that had flooded his mind when he'd touched the chamber's wall. Rojas's hand shot to his belt, pulling a knife, its blade glinting in the green light, a sailor's tool now a desperate shield. "You're loco, Marrow," he growled, his Puerto Rican accent thick, his voice trembling with dread. "This ain't no ship, it's a demon, and it's eating us alive." He crossed himself, muttering prayers in Spanish, his eyes darting to the walls, their veins pulsing, their spirals tightening, as if they heard him, saw him, judged him. His grizzled armor was gone, shattered by the chamber's discs, the tunnel's impossible bends. A man who'd faced storms, but not this, not a presence that knew him, claimed him. Elias ignored the knife, his hands moving over the sub's hatch, checking its seals, his mind racing to catalog the tunnel's details. The walls' slick texture, their translucent surfaces revealing glimpses of deeper passages, shapes that moved, not machines but organisms, their forms fluid, pulsing, connected by the glowing veins. "We're inside it," he said, his voice a feverish chant. "We go deeper, we find the source, the signal, the god." Rojas lunged, his knife trembling, not at Elias but at the dome, as if he could cut through to the sea to freedom. "You don't get it, gringo," he shouted, his eyes wild, his face a mask of terror. "This thing took my divers, took the boats, the kids. It's not guiding us, it's hunting us." His voice cracked, his prayers faltering. A captain trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake from. A man who'd sailed the trench, but never entered its heart, never felt its whisper. The sub shuddered, the liquid shifting, guiding it deeper, the tunnel's walls closing in, their spirals tightening. A pattern that wasn't just seen but felt, a vibration that shook Elias's teeth, his spine, his soul. He grabbed the hatch, forcing it open, the liquid rushing in, not drowning but enveloping. A breathable medium that tasted of metal and salt, a sensation that wasn't water but life, carrying the chant, the spirals, the presence. "We're getting out," Elias said, his voice steady, his eyes locked on the tunnel's core, the green light flaring, a beacon to the truth. "Bring the knife, but follow me. The signal's here, I can feel it." He stepped into the liquid, his boots sinking into the tunnel's floor, its surface slick, pulsating, like the skin of a deep-sea creature, yet unyielding, a path that wasn't chosen but given. Rojas hesitated, his knife trembling, his prayers a whisper, but he followed, climbing out of the sub, his movements sluggish, his eyes reflecting the green light, twin moons in a face twisted with dread. The liquid pressed against them, not heavy but intimate, a caress that wasn't comfort but scrutiny, a will that wasn't physical but alive, guiding them deeper, toward the tunnel's core, the structure's heart, the god's mind. Elias led, his notebook clutched in one hand. The tape's case strapped to his chest, the camera left behind, its film rolling, capturing the sub's abandonment, the tunnel's glow, the truth he'd carry in his mind, his notes, his soul. The tunnel twisted, its walls bending in ways that shouldn't be possible, angles folding inward, spiraling upward, downward, a geometry that wasn't Euclidean but alien, a labyrinth that wasn't built but grown. Its curves a language, a map, a mind. The veins pulsed faster, their green light flaring, a heartbeat that matched the chant in Elias's head, a pulse that wasn't sound but intent, a summons that clawed at his mind, pulling him deeper, to the structure, to the trench, to the god. The walls weren't static but responsive, their patterns shifting when Elias moved, as if watching, reacting, a mirror to the spiraling blips on the sonar, the eyes in his dreams, the tape's pulse. Elias's boots sank into the floor, each step a pulse, a connection to the structure, its liquid filling his lungs, not drowning but sustaining, a breath that wasn't air but life, carrying the metallic tang, the chant, the presence. He scribbled as he walked, his notebook soaking but holding, its pages a chaos of spirals, curves, fragments of a truth he didn't understand but needed to, a map to a reality that wasn't his but was now, undeniable, inescapable. "It's alive," he muttered, his voice muffled by the liquid, his eyes tracing the walls, their translucent surfaces revealing glimpses of deeper tunnels, chambers, shapes that moved, pulsing, alive, a network older than Earth, older than time. Rojas followed, his knife raised, his prayers a constant murmur, his eyes darting to the walls, the veins, the spirals, as if expecting them to strike, to swallow him whole. "This is hell," he whispered, his voice breaking, his dread a weight that slowed his steps. He slashed at the wall, the knife sinking into the gelatinous surface, the veins pulsing faster, the liquid rippling, a response that wasn't pain but awareness, a reaction that wasn't mechanical but alive. Elias stopped, his hand reaching out, touching the wall, its surface quivering, warm, like flesh under his fingers, the veins flaring, the green light flooding his vision, a pulse that wasn't just felt but seen, a cascade of images, spirals, eyes, shapes that weren't shapes but ideas, a cosmos not empty but crowded, watched by things that didn't sleep, didn't die, just waited, their patience a predators, their purpose unknowable. He moved on and on. The tunnel spiraled ever deeper, the green light flaring, the liquid guiding them, and Elias walked on. The tunnel twisted again and again, its walls bending in ways that fractured logic, angles folding inward, spiraling in directions that weren't up or down but other, a labyrinth grown, not built, its curves a language that spoke to Elias's bones, a map to a reality he didn't understand but needed to. The veins pulsed faster, their green light flaring, a heartbeat that matched the chant, a vibration that shook his teeth, his spine, his soul. Elias's hand brushed the wall again as he walked, its surface warm, welcoming a cascade of more images that weren't memories but visions, alien, warped, pulling him into a landscape that wasn't his but felt like home. He saw his childhood, a cracked Boston sidewalk under a gray sky, his 6-year-old self chasing a paper boat in a gutter's flow, its edges curling like the tunnel's spirals, but the water wasn't water. It glowed green, pulsing, alive, carrying the boat not to a drain but a void, a chasm that whispered his name. The scene shifted, his mother's deathbed, her face pale, her eyes hollow, the hospital's sterile white warping into a translucent chamber, its walls veined, pulsing, her voice not hers but the chant's, a wet, guttural pulse that wasn't human but knew him, saw him, claimed him. The vision twisted, the hospital bed a slab of gelatinous matter, his mother's body dissolving into liquid metal, her eyes spiraling, not dying but transforming, a part of the structure, the trench, the god. Elias gasped, his hand jerking from the wall, the vision fading, the tunnel's green light grounding him, the liquid's tang sharp in his lungs. His heart raced, his breath shallow, his notebook trembling in his grip, its pages smeared with ink, spirals, fragments of the vision he didn't understand but needed to. "It's probing me," he whispered, his voice raw, his eyes wide, his awe of fire that burned away the tunnel's disorientation, Rojas's prayers, the liquid's weight. Not words, not thoughts, images, memories, but not mine, not human. He scribbled, his pencil scratching, capturing the sidewalk, the boat, his mother's eyes, the chant's pulse, a truth that wasn't memory but communication, a language that wasn't spoken but felt, a mind that wasn't human but alive. Rojas's knife slashed at the air, his prayers louder, a desperate litany in Spanish, his eyes darting to the walls, their veins, their spirals, as if they'd strike, swallow him whole. "What's probing you, gringo?" he shouted, his voice cracking, his dread a weight that slowed his steps. This thing's in your head, eating you, like it ate my divers, like it ate the sea. He slashed at the wall again, the knife sinking into the gelatinous surface, the veins flaring. The tunnel shuddered, its spirals tightening, the green light flaring, a pulse that shook the liquid, the air, their bones. Elias ignored him. The vision lingered, not a memory but a message, a probe from the structure's intelligence. Not a mind like his, but a presence, vast, indifferent, exploring him as he explored it. He touched the wall again, deliberate now, his hand sinking slightly into the warm, quivering surface, and the flood returned sharper, a cascade of images that weren't his but felt like truth. Galaxies birthing, their stars spiraling into green-lit voids, their light not burning but pulsing, alive. Worlds dissolving, their oceans glowing, their cores cracking open, exhaling disks that weren't ships but seeds, spores. Children of a system that wasn't machine but God. The visions weren't random but deliberate, a language of images, a communication that wasn't words but intent, showing him a cosmos not empty but crowded, watched by things that didn't sleep, didn't die, just waited, their purpose unknowable. He saw Earth, a speck, its trenches pulsing with the same green light, a network connected, alive, a system that wasn't human but eternal, a presence that saw him, wanted him, claimed him. The chant was louder, a pulse in his bones, a vibration that shook his teeth, his spine, his soul. Elias pulled his hand back, his vision clearing, his notebook falling to the liquid-covered floor, its pages splaying, spirals smeared across them, a map to a reality he didn't understand but needed to. "It's talking to me," he said, his voice a feverish chant, his eyes wide, his heart racing. "Not words, not thoughts, images, showing me what it is, what it does. It's not a ship, Rojas, it's a mind, a system, a god." Rojas's knife trembled, his prayers faltering, his eyes reflecting the green light, twin moons in a face twisted with terror. "You're gone, Marrow," he whispered, his voice breaking, his dread a weight that pinned him to the pulsating floor. "This thing's eating your mind, turning you into one of them, like the divers, like the stories." He slashed at the wall again, the veins flaring, the liquid rippling, the tunnel shuddering, its spirals tightening, a response that wasn't pain but awareness, a reaction that wasn't mechanical but alive. The green light flared, a heartbeat that shook the liquid, the air, their bones, and Rojas stumbled, his knife slipping, his prayers a whimper. Elias grabbed the notebook, his hands shaking, his pencil scratching, capturing the galaxies, the worlds, the disks, the chant's pulse, a truth that wasn't memory but communication, a language that wasn't spoken but felt, a mind that wasn't human but alive. The tunnel twisted deeper, its walls closing in, the veins pulsing faster and faster as they went deeper and deeper, the green light flaring, a beacon to the structure's core, the trench's heart, the god's mind. The liquid guided them, not forcing but urging, a will that wasn't physical but alive, pulling them deeper, toward a truth Elias didn't understand but needed to, a reality that was undeniable, inescapable. Finally, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber, its walls soaring into a dome that wasn't stone or metal, but a translucent organic membrane, veined with glowing filaments that pulsed like arteries, casting a sickly green light that danced across the chamber's expanse. The floor was a lattice of pulsating panels, each etched with spiraling patterns that shifted, breathed, a mosaic that wasn't static but alive, rippling under their steps. Suspended in the liquid, like fruit in a gel, were shapes, discs, spheres, cylinders. Not assembled but growing, their surfaces liquid metal, etched with the same spirals, their edges soft, organic, pulsing with the chamber's light. They hung in alcoves, not bolted but cradled, their forms coalescing from the walls themselves, as if the chamber was birthing them, not building them, a process that wasn't mechanical but biological, a system that wasn't machine but God. Elias stopped, his breath shallow, his eyes wide, his notebook trembling in his grip as he sketched the chamber, its disks, its veins, its impossible life. "It's assembling them," he whispered, his voice a feverish chant, his pencil scratching, capturing the shapes, their glow, their spirals. "Not a factory, not like ours, grown like plants, like embryos, a seed creating scouts, extensions, children." He pointed to a disk, half-formed in its alcove, its surface rippling, veins of green light threading through it, connecting it to the chamber's walls, umbilical cord that wasn't metal but flesh, a birth that wasn't birth but creation, a purpose he didn't understand but needed to. The discs stirred, their surfaces quivering, some detaching, floating in the liquid, their movements graceful, deliberate, a silent swarm that circled the chamber, their eye-like lenses pulsing, not eyes but gazes. Elias's heart raced, his hands fumbling for the notebook, its pages soaked but holding. "They're scouts," he muttered. "The structure's a seed planted here, in the trench, growing these, sending them out, to the sea, the sky, the stars, for something, some purpose we can't see." Rojas's knife slashed at the liquid, a futile gesture, his prayers a desperate wail, his eyes darting to the discs, their lenses, their spirals, as if they'd strike, swallow him whole. "You're loco, Marrow," he shouted again and again, his voice breaking, his mind shattering. "This ain't no seed, it's a devil, birthing demons, eating us alive." He slashed at an alcove, the knife sinking into the gelatinous wall, the veins flaring, the liquid rippling. Elias' eyes tracing the discs, their number growing, dozens now, floating in the liquid, their surfaces reflecting the chamber's light, their spirals tightening, a pattern that wasn't just seen but felt, a vibration that shook his teeth, his spine, his soul. He stepped closer to an alcove, its half-formed disc pulsing, its veins threading into the wall, a connection that wasn't circuit but nerve, a life that wasn't life but purpose. The liquid pressed against him, not heavy but intimate, a caress that wasn't comfort but scrutiny, a will that wasn't physical but alive, guiding him deeper, toward the chamber's core, the structure's heart, the god's mind. He scribbled, his pencil snapping, the lead smearing across the page. The discs moved closer, circling him, their lenses pulsing, a chorus that wasn't sound but intent, a summons that clawed at his mind, pulling him deeper, to the chamber, to the trench, to the god. Elias's breath came in gasps, his heart racing, his mind filling with no edge, fragments of a memory, a seed planted eons ago, growing scouts, spreading, not conquering but existing, a system that didn't care about Earth, about humans, but used them, saw them, claimed them. The chant was louder, a pulse in his bones, a vibration that shook his teeth, his spine, his soul. Rojas's voice broke through, a ragged shout, his knife trembling, his prayers faltering, his eyes reflecting the green light, twin moons in a face twisted with terror. "It's watching us, Gringo," he yelled, his voice cracking. "Those things, those eyes, they see me, they know me." He slashed at the liquid again, the discs circling closer, their lenses pulsing. Rojas staggered, his knife slipping from his trembling grip, clattering to the pulsating floor, his navy surplus jacket sodden, his scarred face a mask of terror, his pale blue eyes wide, reflecting the green light like shattered moons. His prayers, once a steady litany, broke into a scream, raw and guttural, echoing the diver's last transmission he'd described. A sound not of pain, but of seeing something that broke the mind. "Eyes everywhere," he shouted, his Puerto Rican accent thick, his voice splintering as he clawed at his face, his hair, his eyes, as if he could tear the vision away. "They see me, Marrow. They know me, they're in me." He collapsed to his knees, the liquid rippling around him. Elias's heart raced, his breath shallow, his notebook trembling as he scribbled, capturing Rojas's collapse, the disc's lenses, the chamber's pulse, a truth that wasn't human but cosmic. He stepped back, his boots sinking into the pulsating floor, his eyes darting to the discs, their silent dance tightening, their lenses pulsing faster. A chorus that wasn't sound but intent, a gaze that wasn't human but alive. "It's watching," Elias whispered, his voice raw, his eyes wide, his jaw teetering on the edge of fear, a scientist grappling with a truth that didn't fit his charts, his equations, his life. Rojas's screams grew wilder, his hands clawing at the floor, the liquid, his own skin, as if he could rip the eyes out, the presence out, the truth out. "They're in my head," he wailed, his voice breaking. The discs circled closer, their lenses pulsing, their spirals tightening, a response that wasn't attack but observation, a reaction that wasn't mechanical but alive. The chamber's walls rippled, the veins pulsing faster, the green light flaring, a heartbeat that shook the liquid, the air, their bones, and Rojas's screams dissolved into sobs, his body curling into a ball, a captain broken by a nightmare he couldn't wake from. Elias's notebook fell to the floor, its pages splaying, spirals smeared across them. He stepped toward Rojas, his hand outstretched, but stopped, his eyes drawn to the discs, their lenses pulsing, their gaze not just on Rojas but on him, through him, into him. The liquid tightened, the chant surged, and a realization hit him. Not a thought but a laugh, sharp, unhinged, echoing in the chamber, a sound that wasn't joy but surrender, a scientist seeing the universe's indifference and finding it absurd, profound, true. "It doesn't care," Elias said, his voice rising, his laugh cutting through Rojas's sobs, the chamber's pulse, the liquid's caress. "It's not watching us, not like we think. It's just working, Rojas, doing what it does, growing, sending, existing. We're nothing to it, specks, noise, just here." He laughed again, his eyes wild, his heart racing, his awe fracturing into something else, a clarity that wasn't comfort but horror, a truth that wasn't redemption but annihilation. The structure, the seed, the god, it wasn't malevolent, wasn't benevolent, wasn't anything human, just a system, eternal, indifferent, alive, and they were in it, part of it, irrelevant to it. The discs moved closer, their lenses pulsing, their spirals tightening. A chorus that wasn't sound but intent, a gaze that wasn't human but alive, seeing him, knowing him, claiming him. Elias's laugh faded, his eyes locked on the discs, their dance hypnotic, a ballet of alien intent, each one a seed, a spore, a child of the structure, the trench, the god. The liquid guided him, not forcing but urging, a will that wasn't physical but alive, pulling him deeper, toward a tunnel that spiraled inward, downward, toward the structure's core, a heart that wasn't a heart but a mind, a will, a presence that knew him, saw him, claimed him. He grabbed the notebook, his hands shaking, his pencil scratching, capturing the discs, the lenses, the indifference, a truth that wasn't human but cosmic, a map to a reality that wasn't his but was now, undeniable, inescapable. Rojas's sobs grew quieter, his body trembling, his eyes squeezed shut, as if he could block the eyes, the presence, the truth. "Make it stop," he whispered, his voice a child's. Elias stepped toward the tunnel, not looking back at Rojas. Didn't help him, couldn't, his mind consumed by the realization, the laugh, the truth that the structure didn't care, that he was nothing, that the god was just working, eternal, indifferent, alive. The chant was everywhere, a pulse in his bones, a vibration that shook his teeth, his spine, his soul, a voice that wasn't human but alive, whispering his name, a summons to a truth he'd die to uncover. The tunnel spiraled deeper, the green light flaring, the liquid guiding him, and Elias walked on.